So if you guys already haven't heard of the Oppo Find 7, it was an incredible phone released in March 2014. It had mind-blowing specifications, a gorgeous looking display, and was one of the most powerful phones to ever hit the market. In July this year, rumours started to circulate about the phone's successor, the Oppo Find 9, and they predicted a pretty beastly specification. And it's only recently in sort of December time that rumours have begun picking up again, this time all of them pointing towards the phone having 6GB of RAM. This, combined with the Snapdragon 820 CPU and the Adreno 530 GPU, would make this a true next generation device. But what I actually made this video for, and the kind of dilemma that I'm kind of having in my own head is there actually a point to any of this? Now sure, specifications are great for nerds like me. I mean, if I see a phone which has 6GB of RAM, that alone would make me very tempted to buy it. But then, is that what the smartphone market has become? Is it just this arms race to throw in as many components as you can into your next smartphone, even if it doesn't really yield any noticeable benefit? You may remember the original Galaxy S smartphone, which was probably the first true Android smartphone that could safely compete with Apple, because to begin with at least the iPhone was well ahead of the competition. And since then Android has developed, it's moved ahead leaps and bounds. More powerful components, larger and sharper displays have really genuinely enhanced the experience. But I think it's kind of reached a point where that is plateauing a little bit. Even if they double the power on current smartphones, would it really be any faster? I mean, if you get a Galaxy Note 5 for example, everything you do is silky smooth. Every action you take happens almost instantaneously. There's no bugs and glitches. The screen is well above Retina quality, and it's so big that making it any larger would almost definitely make it unpocketable. When you play games, just about any high-end Android device will slice through anything you throw at it. And what's surprising me is that Android games really aren't getting much more complex. In terms of graphics, 90, 95, maybe even 99% of them are still 2D games, or very basic 2.5D or 3D titles. There's very little development on that front. And I think it's mostly just because of the touchscreen nature of these devices. Playing a game like Modern Combat 5, while it does look and feel quite nice, just doesn't live up to the console feel that it's trying to replicate, and it never will because of the form factor. There will never be mainstream phones with physical buttons on them because that doesn't make sense for the majority of people. So as a result, these smartphones just won't become a hardcore gaming alternative. And what's really confusing is that while the next smartphones are getting exponentially more powerful every time, battery life basically hasn't budged since they begun. Now, smartphone camera quality is undoubtedly improving from generation to generation, but it just will never be able to replace a dedicated DSLR because those huge optics won't be able to fit in a space this small. And whilst increasing the power of your smartphone may be able to help you capture higher megapixel images, it just won't be able to physically replicate the optics of a larger camera. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the smartphone market is stagnating, because it's not. There's constantly innovation because there has to be. There's styluses, there's fingerprint sensors, there's virtual reality. All these things could become the next thing. But it's just, why are we actually increasing the power of these smartphones? What is the actual purpose of it? Now, I would actually quite like to start a discussion on this because I'm genuinely curious, and if you guys have any insights on this, I'd love to hear your opinions in the comments below. Thanks once again for watching guys, I'm Mr. Who's the Boss, and this is Insanely Cool Tech.